We're going to go live here in just a minute. See there's a difference from when, now we're live for sure. Hey, Henry McClure live.
Debbie Potter.
Deb Potter, not to be ever called Porter. But hey, welcome. So you're up here for the school board.
I am.
Tell me, when's the meeting?
Tomorrow.
What time?
Well, 10 a.m. it starts. I didn't look at the agenda. It should be 10 a.m. And if you want to be in the open comment period of time, you want to get there right away. Get there before that.
Because you got to sign up for public comment?
Yeah.
You know, I am a serial public comment person. Public comment is one of the most important things to me.
Well, that's your chance.
Because we're silenced so much.
Yep. That's your chance to be heard. And
Thank God for Elon Musk.
I know. I agree.
X! I mean, look what he exposed.
Well, and that's why I think I think our society is changing. And I think for a long time in our generation, you're a baby boomer, yeah?
I'm a boomer.
Yeah, I'm a boomer.
59.
December 64. I'm
respect your elders.
just a boomer. But yeah, I mean.
I thought that boomer ended at 62.
Nope, 64.
All right.
December 64.
I'm not arguing that.
That's okay. You'll have to tell me what generation I'm in if I'm the one after.
No,
anyway.
we're boomers.
Yeah, I'm a boomer. But that generation, respect for your elders, trusting those in authority, just it's a blind trust kind of thing. It's and that has its strengths and its weaknesses, right? And
we were also to be seen and not heard.
Yeah, but we found that not all those in authority and in responsibility are to be trusted. And we've gone so far down that I think this young generation has a revival going on. I am really excited.
Tell me about that. Where do you see this revival?
They're pushing back. I'm a Stephen K. Bannon gal, but you've got your podcasts. I mean, I sit and listen.
We are the future. I mean, we're the news now.
Yeah, but I mean, look at. I listen to Devorah Darkins a lot. Who else? There's just a lot of those youngins out there. There's our age too, for sure. But there's a lot of young people that are just up and being heard and digging and learning. And here's what they say over and over and over again. Don't take my word for it. Go find the information yourself.
Yeah, so some knucklehead was criticizing me about using AI. Well, what a better way to look at all the sources that are out there.
Well,
and if you're not using AI, hey, look, you should have used AI and asked, hey, should we buy a hotel?
Well, I mean, it's a tool.
It's
a tool. And that's like State Board of Education for me is just a tool. Because I told you, I prayed, 5 years ago now, what did God want me to do? And I felt like he said clear as day. I thought it'd be personal property rights because that's my realtor. That's my
right.
Look out after the kids. He didn't ask me to run for the State Board of Education. He told me to look out after the kids.
You know what I learned?
It's just a tool in the toolbox.
At the Republican convention the other day, the mini convention we had,
What's that?
There was a speaker there talking about Project 1776.
Okay.
You know that guy?
I did not get to hear the speaker. Somebody already showed me his program.
What did you think?
I was taking pictures of it.
What do you think of that guy?
That's my thing. Everything he's in there.
It was like a light bulb came on for me.
I have it. It's on my phone.
I know. He did a good job. I liked him because he's so sharp-tongued.
Well, I didn't get to hear him speak.
Oh, my.
Oh, my word. But what I did, there it is, 1717 Project Foundation's mission, and then classical education, parental rights, school security, education technology, anti-ideology. The school security, I asked for the persistent.
What a coincidence.
I know. This was, at lunch today. I got told about this. I was like, oh, my word. Maybe I can get him at Pachyderm. Yeah.
What's her name? Connie.
Hey,
Connie, Henry McClure, if you tune in, I found one of your signs.
Don't out that I was having lunch with her.
Oh, it's too late. What the hell does it matter?
Oh.
Is it a violation of the Open Meetings Act?
No, I'm not the popular person to rub elbows with.
Oh, well.
But,
But what I liked about this guy, more than ever, he said, you guys, Republicans, you got to start looking to the future, and the future is our children. The time of Trump is over. And,
The time of Trump.
well, Trump,
We're in Trump.
well, I know, but
I'm sorry.
but he's looking ahead.
Trump is always about 5 steps ahead of everybody.
Well, yeah, and all he's trying to do is look ahead.
Yeah.
Because, the next election, you won't have it. No, go with me. I'm not anti-Trump.
No, I'm not. I know. No,
But
I'm
he's just
living
saying,
in the
look,
moment.
we've got to start, the Republicans need to start making it all about education. We really do.
And even so about education, but even more than that, it's about starting engaging. And that's why this shirt, you can't see it on the camera, it says "We the People." I'm on my Facebook just talk in general about we the people.
Here, there you go.
Yeah, there, that way. That way.
We're very flexible here in the studios here.
Anyway.
These are the Glass Houses studio, part of the Ryan Mowinkle Empire. Little word for our sponsor.
Oh, okay.
There you
But I'm enjoying these podcasts. I'm enjoying hearing the perspectives of these younger people. The younger people are, by the way, a lot of them getting involved in Trump's administration. So I feel like we're getting
Who's your favorite guy in his administration?
Oh, Cash.
Cash Patel. Absolutely. He knows Cash Patel. Doug Billings.
Yeah, you're someday maybe going to let me meet Cash or Trump, or I'll take any of them.
Do you know
any of
this
them.
guy?
No.
He's an educator.
Okay, no.
Doug
no.
Billings. If you ever met him, you just love him.
Well,
You know
hi,
what I
Doug.
mean?
Nice to meet you.
Doug tunes in, and his lieutenant governor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a political person. I honestly can say that I'm just going to stay in this job as long as God gave it to me as a tool in the toolbox. As long as I have it, I have no intention to do anything else in politics. I have no desire to do anything else in politics. I have, right now I just left 2 hens and a rooster and water hoses on a timer at home so I could be up here and then take my aunt to Minnesota. But that's what kind of got us on this conversation. My frustration, I'm a primary caregiver to my aunt.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yes.
Been there, done that.
Yes, and this is my second rodeo doing that. And the thing is that there's a commitment there. And there's a commitment, it depends on the person's circumstances, but I explained to you a little bit with my aunt, the commitment has a little bit more repercussions because I made a promise to my uncle that I would take care of her.
You can't get out of those promises,
And
can you?
I would take care of their great-granddaughter.
Oh,
look
wow.
out after her. She is nonverbal autistic, and she's with a wonderful family who was her para in another state. And the thing is that one of the things that my uncle was very concerned about was leaving something for her, because otherwise she's basically alone in this world.
And so you are doing your best to be ultra-conservative with all the funds.
Of my aunt.
So does that ever what about your job as the school board? Doesn't that, come on, doesn't that
Okay,
sometimes?
shout out to, no, God provided. God provided. So I have a cousin who is in home health care. And after I'd had my aunt about 6 months, and we kind of hit a breaking point. We had to get rid of her house. I had to change. Is she going to stay with me or is she not? And there was a lot of other stuff going on. Well, I wanted her to stay, but she had to have her house, so there was a lot of drama. We'll just leave it at drama.
You don't.
But
I
anyway,
understand.
but that being said, my cousin said, Debbie, I will quit my job and take care of Dee Dee during the weekdays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so she gets a paycheck, but we're able to keep it within that monthly
Yeah.
cost and stuff. And so we're able to control that.
So
And
you got a
right
very
now-
tight budget.
Well, I mean, I have a very tight budget by choice, right?
Yeah,
Because we're trying to
okay.
preserve for little Aaliyah. So anyway, that said, with Tammy Bevan, she's awesome. She
Champion,
rocks.
that's your cousin.
That's my cousin.
We love you, Tammy. I love you already.
So she actually has Dee Dee right now, and she's making a trip to Minnesota happen for my aunt. She's
Get out of the heat.
Well, no, she wants
to get eaten by
my aunt
mosquitoes.
turns 90 this year.
Oh, wow.
So she's going to see her 2 sisters and her brother, who is my dad, up in Minnesota. And so as soon as I get done here in Topeka, I'm going to drive to Minnesota
You're always on the run.
And they are flying. The two of them are flying. And
I like driving better.
I do too.
More control.
Yeah, I don't like to fly. I'm not a good flyer. Not good at all.
I hate being I'm claustrophobic a little bit.
I'm not claustrophobic. I've been through Siri training, so I'm not claustrophobic. I know that. But
what's Siri?
Survival, evasion, resistance, escape, and POW training and stuff.
Oh my.
Yeah. So no, I'm not that. I've just known too many people who died in plane crashes. And I don't like flying.
Well, so one of the things, I've told you about my grandfather's role, being on the school board. Just by stuff, hey, he didn't believe in separate but equal, but and half of women showing up, and then all this happens. But as what I think I want to do as being the mayor, see, let's look at it just from two real estate people.
Okay.
And let's talk about white flight.
Okay.
So what happened with Seaman, Rule, Washburn Rule, and Shawnee Heights? So we had all these white people move out to the county. So it left a donut here in 501. And I, as a mayor, I want to make sure 501, what do you think, I'm wrong?
Oh, not at all. No. You're just talking to me a history that I didn't experience. So you've talked to me about this before.
Oh, okay.
It really took
well, I
me off
saw
the
you
person.
grimace.
Oh, other people have said that,
A
and I'm
little
not
bit?
really grimacing. No, I'm just absorbing. No.
Well, it was like last time you were on the show, I don't know if it was my fasting, but you were just making, you were so amped up from coming from a board meeting.
No, I was hurt.
No, this is nice.
No, I was hurt. It was a dagger to the heart. It was known to be a dagger to the heart. I took the dagger to the heart, and here I am. I'm fine.
Look what I remembered. And I won't let that go away.
286. Yes, okay, so I've given that so much more thought. But go with your white flight thing.
Well,
so I just wanted to tell you my history is I grew up in Minnesota.
Right. Norwegian.
Yeah, like I'm dark up there. This is dark.
Oh yeah, you're colored.
I'm colored.
Yeah, colored up there.
So,
she's
yeah.
of the colored people.
Well, no, but I mean, this is and I lived in Hawaii for a year, and
oh man,
yeah.
Did they call you Howley?
Oh, I was Howley, but I was also shark bait.
Oh
and
my! What island?
Oahu.
Oh man,
yeah, so
I went to Kauai.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
No, I went to Kailua High School, and then I lived in Kailua and Kaneohe, and then Kailua, but then I went to school at Kaneohe High School. So in my 11th grade.
Shark bait.
So yeah, no, I just because I was.
It's weird being the outsider.
They're not used to seeing somebody white as snow. Which when I lived in Kansas for a lot of years now, this is dark. When I lived in Minnesota, that was me.
Well, when I lived in LA, white folk and black folk, we're the minority. Yeah. Literally, yeah. We are. It's crazy.
No, I loved my time in Hawaii. I've had a great childhood. I have been.
Well, I think
right now, all my group are over there learning what it is to be poor, and I was like, why would I want to do that? I've already been poor. I know what it is. I've lived. A lot of my high school years are spent in the trailer park. I mean, I know what it's like to live poor because I live in Shawnee County and they're taxing us too much. Well, I was just kidding.
I'm one of the working poor.
Yeah, I grew up pretty. My mom told me a story when we were really little, and she didn't have any food for us, and she didn't want to ask the neighbors for food, so she would just go over to one neighbor's house and say, "Oh, I'm out of spaghetti noodles. Do you happen to have some spaghetti noodles?" And then she'd go to another neighbor. "Oh, I'm out of tomato sauce. Do you have some tomato sauce?" So, I mean, and my mom and dad struggled.
My mom was a teacher?
Oh, no, I don't think you did tell me that.
So, yeah, she's married to a high-powered lawyer, got divorced when I was 3, and she went back and got her master's in education and had a master's in English and became a school teacher. And we struggled as growing up because Dad wouldn't pay the child support. Mom's got all these kids, single mom.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend who's like that from the town I grew up in. I think his dad passed away, and his mom was
But
down in the world. And
it was,
oh my word,
I mean, if you got food, you ate it, you know. We didn't miss a meal, but
yeah.
it was just tight.
But what a blessing! What a blessing! Because that's one of the things. My aunt and I were talking about that at one time. I said, "What a blessing it is to have been poor,
Oh my.
because you're not afraid of it."
No.
If I get poor again, okay.
Well, that's what I love about what's happening to me right now, because Topeka's a town that will retaliate against you. You know,
I can see that.
it
It's
is.
a political town.
Oh man. And they're mean people, and there are some really ruthless people that live in this town that will retaliate against you. And
I'm sorry. I'm very blessed.
you know,
Right.
like some guy the other day, some ne'er-do-well architect working for Greg Schwert, put a comment about. I was saying that the political people, they spend money like drunks, you know, that don't have to pay the bar tab. And
Oh.
well, and after
Is it-
10 years of being clean and sober, you know, that and saved and awake,
Yes.
some punk kid wants to bring that up. And I got a little angry, you know what I mean? Because I got angry at the system. Like, Topeka doesn't want you to do well. They don't want you to get better.
Well, that's what I hope. I was thinking that just this morning driving up here.
About Topeka or
no,
life?
about the system.
The system, I hate.
Because I'm like, I hope that Trump, he's very wealthy, and I hope as he's cutting things, which he needs to do, I hope he will consider cutting it on a graduated basis, because what we have is it's all or nothing. You're either you're dependent on the state, and oh by golly, if you make $1 too much, you'll lose it all. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
at least
And
my
so they
Social
keep them
Security now is not going to get taxed.
right, but they keep they keep people captive
We are.
to
We're
those social
slaves.
services, to the social services. And if they would have this graduated release, like you don't throw your kids out the door and say, well, I give you room and board and telephone and car and everything you have, and then
Well,
you
my
turn
stepdad
18.
said shit like that.
Well,
Sorry.
you turn 18, gone. Well, but that's not a very good experience going out the door, right? By the time you turn 18, hopefully your parents have already made you take over some of your own personal bills, like your cell phone, and we made our kids pay their portion of the car insurance.
I had to beg my parents to let me buy my own car out of my own cash that I had saved myself.
Oh, okay.
And out of the blue, my stepdad said, "You can do that?" And I go, "Yeah, I got the money." He goes, "Wow." He goes, "I'll tell you what." He owned an insurance agent. He goes, "I'll tell you what. I'll pay your insurance your first year. I want to see you do this."
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, I love him, even though I hate him. You know.
Oh, don't most kids.
No, but well, what's really cool?
I got
What's
good
really
kids.
cool
I got
is
good kids.
as you recover, you forgive everybody. You even forgive yourself.
Oh,
You know-
that's a great place. That's a great place.
Yeah, I mean, except I don't forgive that architect guy that works for Greg Schwert.
Well, something my husband, I guess, because the kids, they're getting mad at mom, whatever, and my husband would tell him, he'd say, well, your mom's not a 1, she's not a 0 either. So he said, you got to consider what's the good things about your mom, what's the bad things.
Well, my mom was tough. I loved her.
I always think, actually, some of my success with my kids, is my husband and I joke about this, is I said, it didn't hurt for them to think that their mom might be a little bit batshit crazy.
Oh, man. When we were taking care of my mom, my daughter refers to that era as the shit show.
Uh-huh.
And then my daughter has turned out so beautiful.
Yeah.
And she's so grounded and she's so on top of it. Sometimes, she's a great person to get advice. Bianca, I don't know if you're watching the podcast, but I love you.
Hi, John.
Like, I won't hang up.
I'll tell you. Hi, Katie, Bobby, Lori, Hannah, David, Becca, Rachel, Josh.
Well, check that out.
Those are my 8.
8?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah. They're all mine. All Greg's. No yours, mine, and ours going on. It's just both of ours.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I'm not Catholic.
No, you don't have to be.
No, I'm not Mormon. No, those are the questions. I'd always get, we were military, moving around.
Yeah.
And people meet you and they say, are you Catholic? No. Are you Mormon? No, just, they're all my kids, so.
No, he asked me on Sunday if I was Catholic because of the liturgy. You know, I'm an Episcopalian,
Okay.
which is a King Henry Catholic. You know, we pulled away from Rome in, like, I think it was 1456 or something like that. Then I also worked for the Orthodox Church,
Okay.
and Rome pulled away from them in 1100.
And that's all so much history.
But I love the
I'm not
Orthodox
yet.
Church because they're saving my life right now because we're doing a real estate deal out at 37th and Gage.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Yeah, I've been praying for that deal.
That's a blessing. Yeah. I'm just a Bible
See,
Christian.
wasn't
I became
this
a Christian
easy?
and I was, yeah.
Wasn't this
yeah.
show easier?
Your shows are always easy for me. I enjoy talking to you. But I was a Christian. I became a Christian in 1989. I believe it was March 6th, 1989.
November 22nd, 1959, I was baptized.
Okay.
And I saw God, or close to, or next, the presence of God was with me on May 2nd, 2015, when I got saved from
That's the date I was.
drug addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I can verify that your resentments and your transgressions hurt more than whatever, kills you. And I shouldn't let guys like that little Andrew fella
It's
get me
hard.
mad.
Well, I get mad. You're human.
I
I'm
am human.
We're human. But I told you I go to Bible study with Dr. New on Tuesday nights.
Now, Dr. New is also on the school board.
Yeah. And she, I tell you, that woman loves Jesus from top of her head to the bottom of her toes. And I go to that church, and I can be, sometimes by Tuesday night, I can be pretty beat up. And I walk into that church, and it can almost make me cry because I just feel love.
The energy.
Just the energy, but just 100% acceptance. Ideologically, I don't know how I fit in with that church or anything, but I just feel loved and supported and comforted. And the very first message I heard at that church, the bishop was saying, he said, you have to remember when you have conflict with a person to look past the person and know that it's the principalities and the powers that are behind them that you're actually fighting.
Well, so there probably
that
isn't
helps.
anybody in the universe that you know that if they said something bad about you, you could come up with 3 or 4 things on them, right?
Oh, I could probably do a dozen easy.
Yeah, but how shallow is that? I don't want to get down to that level. I'm not going to do it.
No, it's not. I think
I got to start acting like the mayor.
Well, there you go. I mean, honest disagreements, those can be voiced. I mean, Jesus complained about things that people were doing that this is not right.
Yes.
So that's not it. It's when you attack that person instead of the ideas. What's that person doing that is wrong? You could call that out all day long. In my belief, you can call that out all day long because they're doing something wrong that needs to be addressed.
A fellow that's going to bring up my drunkenness better be a teetotaler.
Well,
You know what I mean?
from 2015, I would be like, what? But what would be the purpose of it? Is he trying to make the world better? Because
No, he's trying to belittle me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's not that. Like I said last time, I get along. I think most actually everybody on the board. Is there some belittling? Maybe a little bit, but for the most part, I think there's a lot of respect. We don't have to respect. Okay, like when it comes at me, like I got called out by name, which is really not a cool thing to do.
By the chair?
No, by another member. And she
During the meeting?
Yeah, like, I hope you don't mind me talking about you, Debbie. I'm like, if I did, I'm not really in a position to say. But what comes out about me a lot of times when they disagree with me and they don't like what I'm saying, instead of the merits of what I'm saying, some people are new. And they just don't know any better. That's the kind of comments that will be a little bit belittling, but it's not like she's belittling me as a person. So you get that. So there is belittling, but it's not like that. That's just a cheap shot. That's just a cheap shot.
But
you've had alcohol and been drunk.
No, but
You've
hang on
made
a second.
bad mistakes in
But
your
you
life.
want to know the truth of the matter? How I really feel? There isn't anybody that can advise people about drunkenness better than me.
There you go.
I am the guy that can tell you that.
That's true.
Because I'm on the other side of the fence now.
But well, and what did Jesus say on the other side?
You get it.
The glass house. I mean,
glass houses,
the
baby.
Stone. Who has
Ye be without sin, cast the first
you
stone.
cast that stone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cast any stones at you because you are who you are today, and we're talking about the things we're talking about today.
That's the person that showed up.
Yeah, who?
Like if I ever say something to my daughter about something, she goes, "Well, how does that affect your life?" Well, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Well, do you feel better?
I've heard that.
Yeah, my daughter's so grounded. Well, it doesn't. She goes, "Well, you got that out of your system." Bianca Bantleon McClure. I'll show you her great-grandfather in there. So I go to Grace Cathedral because there's prayer stuck in the wall for me.
Oh.
Because my mom and dad wanted to have kids so bad, but they adopted 3 kids and had me. But
so you were the accident. We adopted 3 kids and whoops.
Hey, you guys can answer that question better.
No, but so that's fine. They say that happens is if you're so anxious to have a baby, and that can sometimes be the reason you're not having a baby, and then you adopt, and all of a sudden your mind's not on having a baby anymore.
Oh man, my mom loved kids.
Yeah.
And my dad, this is what my dad did, is he kept adopting kids to throw them at mom so he could go live his lifestyle. You know what I mean?
And then he left.
The high-powered lawyer. No, he got his ass kicked out.
Oh.
My mom wasn't going to put up with it anymore.
Okay.
And here we are. But I forgave my dad. I love my dad. He had
living?
No, in my heart. But Dad had trouble from the war from incinerating more Japanese than probably any one man from World War II. Because the incendiary bombs killed more than the atomics. And he was flying the hump and dropping incendiary bombs all over Tokyo. He was a navigator.
He's a navigator.
A human GPS.
That's sad. That's a lot to carry for the rest
of
your life. Yeah.
And then I realized it, and we moved on.
So that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Well, so
we'll get back to that with the board, maybe.
But back to Henry being the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a relationship with the Board of Education here, this Kansas. That's a phone call coming in.
Oh, okay.
Then the governor, the senators, the House, the federal government. I would love to meet Trump. I'd love to meet Kash Patel.
I'll just stand behind you.
I would love to meet these people because it all affects our community. I mean, I think Topeka, I didn't hate Topeka when I came back. What I hate today is 2 Topekas. There's the Topeka up here for these guys that get more incentives and don't have to pay taxes or, it's not an even playing field.
But you got the people who are heard, the people who are not heard. I don't get into the money as much except for when money gets you heard. That shouldn't be what gets you heard.
Well, and what I worry about more than anything is it's the education of the people that are listening. Mm-hmm. When are you going to just believe me because I'm telling you the truth? I have to verify all the transgressions that are going on here through Cora. And it isn't easy when the system works against you. Yeah. I made a Cora request, had to pay $25. And then they said, well, we did some research into it. Now it'll be $1,400 to get all this information, but we still may not give you sensitive information. Well, so why spend? I want the sensitive information.
I honestly, the technology we have right now, why isn't it just online?
Why isn't it online?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because, honestly, obviously there's some things that have to be redacted, well, maybe those aren't the things online, but our money, our budgets, our what went in, what came out, where it went, where it came from, all of that kind of stuff should be online. I mean,
Well-
there should be so much information out there. You have to use AI
You
just
know-
to figure out.
You've said some, and whether I should say this or not, it's too late. That sometimes the bureaucrats and there's meetings that go on that you don't even know about.
That's going on with the state board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have heartburn over that. But,
Well, so I've got heartburn over this organization called Go Topeka, which is an NGO, and they're taking the tax dollars, sales tax for economic development, and those board meetings aren't public.
I think they are now.
No, well,
July 1, that changed. Did that affect them? If they receive
Well-
tax funding, you'll have to look. It's in that.
Okay.
It's in that. Yeah. Just check.
well, yeah, but also too, a lawyer named Joe Ledbetter got the meeting minutes from meetings because he was, we had the FBI investigating Go Topeka
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
back then. Well, good for Joe Ledbetter.
Good job, Joe.
And-
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, he's a good lawyer. He's a guy that finally got so pissed off the way things are going, he went out and got a law degree.
Oh, I really like Joe. That's a good guy. Here, we got that. So I can tell you get this.
So no, I'll pull that up.
Yeah, he has a.
So I'll inform the voters that, hey, from now on, we can go to the meetings at Go Topeka.
Well, maybe. Let's see. It's a Citizen's Guide to Open Government, but it was right at the very front.
Anyway, I just
It
put,
is a private entity that receives funding from legislative or administrative body of the state or political and taxing subdivision, always considered a subordinate group under COMA. No.
that's coma, not court. Oh,
COMA.
Oh,
Open
oh.
meetings. So it has to be a subordinate group created by a public body or agency subject.
so it's a contractor of the Joint Economic Development Organization, which is made up of the city and the county. It's a private contractor.
Yeah, see, it's that private entity that is protecting them, but I would go
But
into deeper.
it's all funded 100% by sales tax money.
I can just tell you the law just changed and it just went into effect on July 1. So
But here's the point about what's so rotten about our town is that you're hiding behind it. You're hiding behind the rules, or you're not complying, so you can just give money to each other.
well, the question would be, is it just a private entity? And this is a joke question. I'm
It's a
not lawyer.
contractor.
Well, yeah, but is it a private entity issue, or are there public body members who are a member of that
Yes, there
Okay.
are public members that are,
in the capacity of being a public member? Were they invited to the show because they're a public member?
well, they're also members of it due to their role in government.
Says this includes committees tasked with discussing or acting on matters related to the governing body's responsibility. The involvement of public body members indicates the group is likely acting on behalf of the governing body. Therefore, such meetings must comply with COMA to ensure transparency and public access. There is enough vagueness in that, and enough stuff.
Where's Joe Ledbetter when you need it?
Joe will be happy to know if he's probably familiar, but
No,
that law
Joe,
changed.
we've lost Joe kind of
Oh.
because he's married and got a new kid and he's,
Oh, okay.
he's being a family man. I don't blame Joe.
no, but when you said lost him, I thought meant.
No. We lost his attention.
No,
But he
that-
gets it back every once in a while.
Well, he would be excited about this because if he has not been paying attention, Joe, there is a law, and it was an amendment to like 1843 or something like that, 8143, something like that. But it is, and I always think of it as like a 2134, something like that. It just passed. It went into effect on July 1, and it basically deals with Open Meetings Act, and that if like right now, what's really coming up, and the Attorney General is going to have to weigh in on this because I And I was just doing what God was telling me to do.
Right.
All this parliamentary stuff, which seemed like, I'm like, okay, God, I will do this, but it does not seem very fruitful, but I did it. What I made them do in April, I believe it was, it might have been May, they said the quiet part out loud. And they said that our vice chair, have the power to speak and act on behalf of the board in between meetings. Now, you said you've seen the chair in Topeka so much that you thought she lived here.
Yeah.
It behooves her to be here in between meetings.
So she can do all the dirty work.
No, she can do all of our work. I didn't get...
So why do you even need a board?
Great question. Great question. Because we're required, I guess, by law to meet so many times, and so they give us enough to do to keep us happy.
So look what's going on in our Kansas Board of Education.
Yeah,
So he wants to get rid of it the minute...
Oh, well, okay. Mr.
Not
Billings.
the board, the department.
Oh, yes, bless you. Yes, the department.
The department.
Doge it. You're going to have like maybe some little skeletal thing. I mean, make it a law.
Wait till
it has to be that small.
Wait till you meet April McCoy. You'll like her.
Yeah.
She is like down to earth. These two, let
the Department of Education never have more members than the State Board of Education. The Department of Education can run on 10 people.
He's going to start a K-Doge.
Good.
I know who would make a good cabinet member of that.
Oh, I'm not good with numbers.
No, me.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to invite me. I was like, no, you don't want me.
No, hell. So after his 8 years, then I can become governor.
That would work. That would work.
What
I love is people who have a compassion and a heart to make the voice of every average, everyday person be represented, to be heard. I tell you what, the
voice of the rest of us right here.
The voice of the rest of us, because the Dear Colleague letter that we got way back in February, we still haven't had it on our agenda.
Well, where's this Dear Colleague letter? Is it something we should post?
Oh, it's on the Kansas Department of Education website. But then, so what they did is they said, hey, you want federal funding? You better get the DEI out of your schools. That's what the Dear Colleague letter basically said. And again, I'm not a lawyer. This is my interpretation. So
I think diversity, equity, inclusion is the beginning of discrimination.
Right. Well, all I know is that for federal money, they said it has to be out of there. So what we found is the schools were renaming things and parents were making complaints about things that were going on that counselors are having conversations they shouldn't be having with their kids and not telling the parents. And I have that over here. I have the quote over here. But what happened was the Department of Education just took care of it. We didn't have any say in it. We had zero say in it. And it said so.
But is that okay?
No. But Trump's administration got smart to this. They said, oh, they're just, and that DEI, they're just changing the name of the class.
Well,
like community services or something. And so he made it an affidavit. Joe will be interested in that. He made it by law. I am stating that this
I got to get a new Joe, but
yeah, you do.
Here's the thing. They just had a vote. City Council just had a vote, and it was the oddest vote I've ever seen in my life. Well, look, we're going to approve it, but we're going to leave it open for discussion so we can talk about it. It was the most non-committal thing I've ever seen in my life.
Actually vote?
Well, they voted to send it to committee to look at it, but it's approved subject to the committee, and in the committee they can continue to change it. It was the most mealy-mouthed thing I've ever seen. You know, we got to keep these people happy, and we got to make sure the money's coming in, and you know, it just didn't feel right to me because sometimes, hey, it's black and white. You know where I stand.
Well, what they need to do is just assign it to a committee to have open meeting, committee conversations on this, maybe even get some town halls, get some public input, come back with a report from the committee and let them make their decisions. I don't know. That'd be something to think about. But
Speaking of town halls, what we need to do is we need to have every meeting on the hotel a town hall meeting. There you go.
Yeah, HB 2134. That was it, HB 2134.
And what was that?
That was the one that went into effect July 1.
All right, here, let's get that.
Yeah,
House Bill
House Bill 2134.
2134.
I think it affected 72-1138. But,
Like that?
yeah. Yeah. There you
Okay.
go.
Now, is this a House bill or a Senate bill?
That's a statute. I don't
Oh.
know. Statute. You can tell I'm real political here. But I read these on here before, but like here, this was from the May meeting, and it just took a transcript. We received a letter about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, from the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights asking not only for us to certify that we are in compliance with FERPA, but they asked us to share that message with every public school in Kansas and wanted us to collect a verification that every school district also had policies consistent
So
with
now
FERPA.
it has to be an affidavit. So you're,
That was the affidavit.
so
I
that
think
goes
was-
up to perjury.
Well, he said, I advised Commissioner Watson, and we simply send a certification, a letter back to the Office of Civil Rights saying, we're aware of FERPA. We are in compliance with FERPA. We are not aware of any issues with any state or local education agencies not being in compliance with FERPA. Have a nice day. And we did not receive any kind of response to that. So they basically gave the Trump administration the grand middle finger, not on any action of the board. The board never voted to give that response.
And that's just Steve Watson?
Dr. Watson,
What's his
well,
first name?
no, this is Mr. Gordon, their lawyer.
Oh,
Mr.
Mr.
Gordon, the lawyer for the Kansas Department of Education.
Where does Mr. Gordon, is he a lawyer for just one entity or does he have a private practice?
I have no idea.
He's the guy that's been out there appointing all those liberal judges.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying.
Oh, I don't know anything other than he's on the Kansas Department of Education payroll. But he just said here,
We've got a guy like that in our county councilor that is basically the fourth county commissioner.
okay, and well, so
No.
I took this off of the May 14th meeting, and honestly, there's 3 of them. He said, I'll tell you, I don't agree with their interpretation of what Title VI requires. So we did send a certification, just a letter advising, not only did we originally certify compliance to Title VI, remember yesterday I talked about all these little requirements that feds have, that if we're going to accept their money, we have to agree to follow the rules. We agreed to follow the rules. We never stopped agreeing to follow those rules. School districts also, whenever they ask to draw down those federal funds, they have to provide those same kinds of verifications. We didn't ask the school districts to resubmit those verifications. We knew they were already in place. They didn't go away. They didn't eventually disappear. Again, that was not an action by the board.
All right, so real quickly, where is the state school board meeting tomorrow? What's the address?
Oh, who would ask me that? Google search, State Board of Education, Kansas. Kansas State Board of Education. And you will get an address at, maybe, here it is, 900 Southwest Jackson Street.
That's in the big bank.
Is it?
What room number?
It's on the main floor,
What time?
10 a.m.
Open to the public.
Yeah, it's open to the public. Come with a smile on your face.
I'll
It's
see
a
you
hard
tomorrow
day.
there.
It's a hard day.
I've got some calls that I got to return. Can we sign off? Anything more you want to say?
No, I just appreciate you guys, and
All right, thank you for your time today, for those that tuned in.
be positive. That's
Yeah.
all I would ask.
You got to meet Doug and April. They're really cool people. I think that they would give you all the support you need to stand up to the school board.
That would be great.
Henry McClure Live.
Thank you,